The statement of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. Ibn Abbas said, a group of people, yaktubuna abajad, they write abjad, and we're going to talk about abjad, the abjad alphabet, they write in code. Yanzuruna fin nujum. So hold on, we have two things now. Yaktubuna abajad, yanzuruna fin nujum. They write down abjad. They write down letters, like code, letters in code. Abjad, hawaz, hubti, kallim. They write this alphabet down in code, and then they look into the stars. I do not think that these people have anything in the hereafter. Ibn Abbas knew the reality of how magic works, because most magicians, they use astrology and the zodiac as an integral part of the magic that they do. Let's have a look at this in more detail. They essentially divide people into one of four categories, okay? And these four categories are based upon the signs of the zodiac. And of course these have no meaning. And this is kufr, and this is kadhib. It's falsehood and batil, and it's a lie, it's not true. But this is how they work. This is mentally how the magician produces the amulet. They divide people into four categories according to the sign of the zodiac, but not by birth. We're going to talk about this, not by birth. They don't do it by birthday, you're Gemini because you were born in June or July or whatever. You're this because you were born. They do it by a calculation. When they get your zodiac sign, they divide you into fire, water, air and earth. Fire, water, air and earth. And based upon what they calculate, they would then tailor the magic to the element that you are considered to be closest to. So if you are calculated as being from the earth element, they will bury your magic in the ground. And if you are calculated as being from the air element, they would tie it to a bird or to a tree. If they calculate you as being a fire person, they would command you to burn or command incense to be burned and papers to be burned. And if they calculated you to be a water person, they would put your magic in the sewer, in the toilet, in the drain, in the sea, in the river, in order for it to activate. Now all of this is falsehood. However, it is falsehood with a purpose. It's not random. It's done with a clear purpose. And in the extent that the magic is the most effective and the jinn are the most obedient to the magician, when they fulfill these conditions of dividing people into an earth element and then producing magic that is tailored to the element that you are. Okay, now we're going to see this in a lot more detail. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, في قوم يكتبون أبجاد وينظرون في النجوم ما أرى من فعل ذلك له عند الله من خلاق. A people who they write abjad and they look at the stars, and I do not think they have in this action of theirs anything in the hereafter. Here you will see the abjad alphabet. And this is widely available online, and it's available in all books or most books of magic. A lot of magicians use it, and we found it even being used by non-Muslim magicians. We went to Cornwall, Museum of Magic, open manuscripts of magic. We're talking about Cornish magicians, ancient British magicians. We're talking about Dutch magicians, all of them using abjad. Because this belief is one religion, and they all have the same methodology, the same way of calling upon the shaitan. They might tweak it to be old English letters, they might have some different hieroglyphics for it, but it's the same concept. Here we see the Hamza and the Alif has a value of 1. The ba has a value of 2. The jim a value of 3. If we go down further towards the end, we have a tha with a value of 500. We have an ayn with a value of 70, and so on and so forth. And what they would do is something along the lines of the following. They would ask you for your mother's name. And they ask you for your mother's name for a reason. They ask you for your mother's name, first of all, disobeying the command of Allah Azza wa Jal to call them by their father's names. Everything they do is just designed to disgrace the religion and attack the religion. Allah commands for people to be called by their father's names, but in magic they call you by your mother's name. And also some of the scholars said it is a point of making an accusation against the person's lineage. It's as though he's saying, you don't know who your father is. So it's making an accusation against a person's lineage, and it's disobeying the command to call them by their father's names. They take your mother's name. They write out your name and your mother's name with the addition of the word bin, ba, noon. They don't write ibn, hamza, ba, noon, and they don't write bint for a feminine. They only write bin, which is 52. So they add 52 to your name and your mother's name. So for example, if your name was Ahmed, they would take the a, which is 1. They would take the ha, which is 8. They would take the mim, which is 40, and they would take the dal, where's the dal gone, which is 4, Ahmed. Then they would take your mother's name, Fatima. So they would take the fa, which is 80, they would take the hamza, which is 1, the alif serves the same. Then they would take the mim, which is 40, the ta, which is 9, and then they would take the ha, and the ta marbuta are the same, which is 5. Add them all together. They would add all of those up together, and then on top of that they would add 52 for the word bin. Whether you're male or female, they don't follow Arabic grammar. Whether you're male or female, they then come up with a number. So let's do this one quickly. Do we have, grab my phone out. No, it's more than 52, and 52 is 104 and 132.
And what was how much was the
40. Okay, let's do it. We'll do it properly, because I want you to understand how this works. This will help you to understand the Taweez that people use. Let's see if it's going to let me do it. No, it's not going to let me do it on here. You got it? Okay. Write this down. 1 and 8 and 40 and 4. Got it? And 52 and 80 and 1 and 9 and 40 and 5. 240. Okay, so they end up with a large number, 240. What they do is continuously divide that number by 12 until they reach a number between 1 and 12. So 240 divided by 12 gives us 20. That's too high. Divided by 12 again, that gives us 1.6. Now anything 0.6 and above, they round upwards. Anything 0.5 and below, they round downwards. Don't ask why, this is just how they do it. They don't round up at 0.5, they round up at 0.6. 0.5 they round downwards. So this, we are left with the number 2. Then they go back to the signs of the zodiac, and they start counting around until they come to the sign that represents the person that they are. We're just going to go forward till we find one. Probably would have been quicker to go back. Quicker to go back, I think. So we go over to the, where's it gone? Signs of the zodiac, and then they begin counting, and so they come to number 2, which we'll say is water. So now they've calculated that this person is a water person. This person's nature is water, and so therefore they would make their magic, and then they would use that magic and tie it up, seal it up, and put it into something, some form of water. Either part of disgracing the Quran, so put it inside of the Quran and put the Mus'haf in the sewer, in the toilet, or to, for example, put an animal that's been sacrificed to other than Allah and put it inside of the animal and bury the animal inside of a river or inside of the seabed. Or for example, to take some of the person's blood, some of the person's hair, some of the person's nails, wrap it all up in a package, drop it in the sea, because this is a water person. And we showed you what they do with the different kinds of magic over the days. So this code of Abjad Hawaz is used quite frequently by the magicians. However, they also have other variations, and I'll just show you one more variation, which is exactly the same thing, and it's called Al-Qalam Al-Rawhani, and it's exactly the same thing, exactly the same system, the same numerical code. However, they have like a hieroglyphic for each one. If you remember back to ancient Egypt, we told you about the history of magic in ancient Egypt, and said that ancient Egyptian magic was done with hieroglyphics and symbols. Likewise, Persian magic was done with symbolism, and they integrate the symbolism into the magic that they do. Okay, now we're going to begin to show you some of the things that you find within the Taweez. So here we have a Taweez, and this Taweez is called Khatam Surah Yasin. It's called the seal of Surah Yasin. This is supposed to be Surah Yasin. You go to a so-called holy man, pious man, and this pious man says, I will give you an amulet to tie around your neck, and this amulet is Surah Yasin. And they give you this. So off we go and we start decoding these different boxes around here. So let's have a go. Let's just do one. Let's do this box here. We're going to do this box. Let me see if I can. I don't think I can highlight it with anything. This one here. Okay, so the first thing we have is one that looks a little bit like an alif, and that is actually an alif. Then we have a one that kind of looks like a 7 with a bit of a squiggle on it. So that looks like this one here, which is a wow, a 6 or a wow. But it could also be this one, a sin. And you'll see in a moment. Okay, aw. So, aw. We have aw. Then we have another one that looks quite similar. So let's say that's another wow. Then we have one that looks like a dot, which may or may not be intended. The dot may just be. And then we have this one that looks like a line with a sort of a pyramid, like a triangle on top, which looks like this one, a ta. Okay? Now if we continued going on with this surah, we would find that it is indeed Surah Yasin. It is indeed Surah Yasin. It's Surah Yasin all the way around the top and all the way around the bottom. And in fact, I might be able even to show you the ayah that was written. Oops. This is one of the ayat that is written here. It's the 72nd ayah. We'll just give you more context on that. This ayah here. And we have tamed for them so